Hello everyone, welcome back to another week of questions, Q&A episode 7. I'm your guy taking questions, Adam Kovic. You leave me questions on my Twitter feed, and then I will answer them at the end of the week. This will probably be the last one until at least the following, not next week, but the following week, because we're going to Comic-Con. So this will be the last one for a little while. Enjoy it while you can. So first up, first question, Fedoruski, what do you think the next free-to-play title will be from Valve? I think it's going to be Dota 2. I have a feeling they're going to want to compete with League of Legends, and that would make a lot of sense to make Dota 2 free. Tiny Little Robot, will you enter a civil partnership with me, you sexy beast? I don't think they allow that in California right now, so unfortunately, no, I'm sorry. Tristan F. Gerald, where do you think you/Machinima will be in 5 to 10 years? That's a very good question. I had no idea this company would actually be around even this long. I thought it was kind of scary in the very beginning. I was like, no way anyone's going to take this company seriously, and I'm happy we're still here close to 5 years after the fact. Was it 3, maybe 4 years, something like that? But I just hope we're still around, still doing stuff, and keeping up with the industry as it continues to evolve. Sabers 3 Freak 6, isn't it stupid to compare Battlefield to COD? They are two totally different games. Yeah, I agree. The similarities arise from the publishers who like to kind of make these two basically a pissing contest. It's clearly the popular type of title right now is the first-person shooter wartime simulator, because it kind of crosses that threshold into mainstream where, you know, average people like to play it, and it has a very addicting multiplayer element. Battlefield's not as instantly gratifying as Call of Duty's, but clearly there's there is going to be some overlap. We're going to start seeing some similarities between the two titles, though in my opinion right now Battlefield 3 versus Modern Warfare 3, they look like two completely different games. So to even compare them now at this point, as someone who is a gamer who has played the franchises, it's just a little stupid and redundant. Popcron45, are you looking forward to Star Wars The Old Republic? Yes, very, very much. I'm not much of an MMO player, but it's so weird because I actually plan on picking up Guild Wars 2 and The Old Republic, two games that are very much in the essence of a MMORPG. And I used to have zero interest in those titles, but these two games look just downright astounding to me, and I really want to play them. My Cirillo, do you find that people now continue to play games much later into their lives, and what would you attribute that to? Acceptance? Say what? Are you trying to say like as you get older it's okay to play games? Yeah, I think a lot of people, when they're younger, you have a lot more free time, and you know, if your parents allow you to play video games, then yeah, you're allowed to do that. And when you get older, you have family, you have kids, you get married, all that jazz, whatever, and you don't really have the time to play games anymore. Now, I'm kind of this weird exception where I'm an adult, I'm about to get married, and I'm with someone who's very understanding and lets me play video games. Now, when I grew up, I wasn't allowed to play video games that much, really, because my grades were so shitty. So, I kind of have this kind of weird leftover pittance kind of where it's kind of like the slutty girl who was the Christian goody-goody girl in, you know, elementary and middle school and high school, and she goes to college and becomes a total slut-tard. I'm kind of the same with video games. It was so restricted to me that I used to have to like sneak around and play at a friend's house, or, you know, I'd have to sneak in an Xbox and run a 50-foot Ethernet cable from my room to the router at 2 in the morning so I could play Halo 2. Now, I'm an adult, and I have some disposable cash, and I can fuel my hobby as much as I want, and I've kind of found a healthy balance. So, will that trend continue with most people? Yeah, I think so. I think video games are in this, it's in the stage where it's just an accepted type of media, and as, you know, the industry continues to evolve, I think it will just be much more accepted, and it won't be a weird thing for an adult to play video games. Bohemian Demas, did you play a lot of games as a kid, and was school socially a struggle as it was for most of us? Yes, I did play games as a kid, but like I said earlier, I was restricted. So, like, we had a PlayStation, got taken away. Had, you know, even earlier before that, had a Genesis and a Super Nintendo, both given and taken away because of bad grades. Do bad in school, you get your stuff taken away. Being awkward in school, yeah, I felt like I never really fit in. I always had friends who, I even still have some friends from high school who I still talk to and I work with and I do stuff. Those are the creative guys I kind of clung to. But yeah, I was forced into a lot of things, like in high school. Yeah, like I had to play football. My mom put me in it and I hated it. It was very awkward for me. I didn't get along with any of the bro douchebags. Had some friends in there. Ended up breaking my best friend's leg in a tackle practice. That sucked. But middle school was much more awkward for me. I moved schools between the beginning of 7th grade. So I had been going to another school that was not too far. But there was a dispute between my mom and her roommate at the time. So my brother and I had to go move in a different town. And in the beginning of the year, I had to switch. So I had already started middle school at another school with all my friends from elementary school, and I went to this completely different part of town, still kind of within the same city limits, but it was a crappier school, crappier people, had to readjust. It wasn't what I was used to, and yeah, middle school was really crappy for me. I hated it. It was one of the worst times of my life, but looking back at it, it's a growing experience. You learn that you don't want to deal with a bunch of douchebags for the rest of your life. All I can say, I could use the gay motto that everyone likes to use in San Francisco right now. It gets better. So if you're in high school or you're in middle school right now and it just sucks, being a grown-up is much better. As long as you kind of stick to your guns and you don't let those people get you down for the rest of your life, you'll have a good time when you reach adulthood, I promise. Dirty Monkeys, how long did you think you'll be working in the video game industry? Do you think you'll ever get tired of playing video games? Now, technically, I don't really work in the video game industry. I work in the media entertainment industry that just happens to cover video games. I will never get tired of video games, no, because passively enjoying entertainment for me is never as good as engaging with something. For example, if I try to sit down and watch a movie, I typically fall asleep or get tired. Even reading, I get kind of tired. I can only read a few chapters before I just get bored. Video games, though, I can play between 4 and 8 hours, in a row. And it's just something that I've clung to as a kid and as an adult. It's just something I really like, and I don't think I'll ever get tired of it. Darth Solitis, I've got another machinima-related question for you. What is your favorite machinima on the main channel, and why? So actual, machinima video. It's a Sanity Not Included skit that Lyle did. It's one of the clickouts for Adventure. It's a Halo Reach machinima. It's one of the funniest things I've ever seen. One of the best standalone skits I've ever seen in my life. Wub, 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 wub. What is the best 80s action movie you have ever seen and why? RoboCop. And that actually goes for probably the best movie of all time. If you want good action, good adventure, good characters, good story, good setting, without taking itself too seriously, watch RoboCop. That is seriously the best movie ever made. Spencer One Woo, what's your favorite game of 2011? Mine is LA Noire. So far, I think Portal 2 was my favorite. And actually, I'm playing a game right now. I can't really say what it is, but so far, I'm really enjoying this game. It doesn't come out for a little while, but I got it a little early and I'm playing it. Can talk about it probably next week, but oh my god, I am enjoying the hell out of this game. Probably my favorite game of the year so far, but I'll get back to you on that. Caboose_LTD. Would you rather fight 1 horse-size duck or 10 duck-size horses? I'd rather fight the 1 horse because then I know I at least have a fighting chance. There's this theory of how many, 10, I think it's how many 8-year-olds can you take on? And the idea is if you're stuck in an arena with a bunch of children, how long can you last? A lot of people think, I could take out 30 infants, but you got to keep in mind the human body can only take so much, and we're not used to high strenuous activities. Like if you ever do boxing or wrestling, if you ever fought anybody, you get tired really fast. So I'd rather just have to focus on the 1 giant duck than instead of this tiny little ones, just because I could probably take out 5 of them, but then the other ones will just tackle me and I'll just, after exhaustion sets in, I'm done for. So yeah, probably the 1 big one. Con Joe Ken, what do you think Valve will show at Gamescom? I don't know. I think it's just going to be Dota 2. I really hope for Episode 3, but I doubt we're going to see that. And maybe some Portal DLC. Skylar Wittes, another question. If you had a son, what would you name him? And if you had a daughter, what would you name her? Be serious now. Well, my fiance let me name my cat Bellatrix after Harry Potter, and then our other cat Caprica after Battlestar Galactica. So I could only hope if we have kids that she does let me get a little creative, and I get to use some kind of, movie reference or video game reference. I doubt that will pass, or she'll let that go through. But, going back to RoboCop, maybe name my kid Murphy. That'd be awesome. That's a cool name. But then people will call him Murphy Brown. You got to think of these things. It's tough. Yeah, off the top of my head, I can't think, but definitely I'll get back to you on that one maybe next week. Ask the same question. I'll have some time to think on it. King Mofo 6277. When do you think you'll be coming to Ireland? I already did my big vacation this year, which was to Italy. So typically what my fiance and I do is we overlap it. So every other year we try to travel somewhere big, maybe outside the country, and then every other year we try to do something local, kind of small for our big vacation. So not next year, but the following, we'll probably do our European trek, and then we'll stop by Ireland. Andrew, Drew, hey man, got any advice for a guy that's about to lose the perfect girl? Yeah, it's not a big deal. Don't worry about it. When I was younger, I thought I lost the perfect girl. It was like my high school sweetheart. We'd broken up, and it was a big fallout, and it was horrible. I was devastated. I wanted to kill myself. It was all sad and lonesome. But then I met my fiance, and I couldn't be happier now. And actually, it's funny because I ran into my ex-girlfriend at a wedding recently, and it's totally cool. It was just, she's married, and I'm getting married, and it's just everyone just kind of grows up, and you realize, that was you. Everyone was just a kid, and it gets better, and you'll eventually find someone who really is good for you. Stay away from the crazy bitches. That's my advice for you. Twilly Prince 6, have you done any kind of illegal drugs? No, I have not. Doug Gecko, what are your thoughts on YouTube celebrities such as Toboscus jumping in on the whole commentary scene? It's just people looking at what's popular and trying to make a buck, I guess. I mean, the other thing with YouTube is you have to fight to remain relevant. Thankfully, I'm not really paid or anything on my views. So I don't really have to pander, and I can kind of just do whatever the hell I want, i.e. the puppet episode that pissed everyone off. Toby and those other guys, they could do something like that and just really piss off their whole community, and they'll leave them in droves, and they're screwed. So maybe those guys are just looking at what like Machinima's doing and what's popular, like, Respawn was blowing up, and so they're like, oh, maybe I'll do that, and my audience will respect it, because they got to keep that audience around. That's how they get their paychecks. I win. What class race will you be playing in Skyrim? I don't know. I tried playing as a mage in Oblivion and it didn't go that well, so maybe I'll just do the straight up warrior class, I think, because I just like to hit stuff with my sword. Jamie Craig, 1995. What was your first job and what age were you? Thanks. Technically, my first job, I was 15 and a half. I worked at Six Flags Magic Mountain because I grew up in Santa Clarita. Almost every kid, that's kind of where they get their first job because they'll hire you like really with no experience. That's the only place you get a job. So I worked for a place called RX Technologies, which were the people who took care of the ride photos. So I was working behind a computer desk, and if you flash the camera, I had to delete your photo. That was my job. Kind of pathetic. And then sell photos. It was kind of cool because for a while I found a way to hook up my CD player. Yes, I had a CD player to a TV, and I could play my techno music and kind of just like dance around the booth. I didn't really dance. But then one time I tried to sing my PlayStation in to play Metal Gear Solid. My boss found it and got really pissed off. So I wasn't allowed to do that anymore. But yeah, Six Flags, Magic Mountain. I will never go back there again. I fucking hate that place. Nuclear Plastic. If it existed, would you play a Halo game about the Covenant Civil War taking place mid-Halo 2 and onwards? I don't know. I think the Covenant are better when they're left as a mystery. I kind of like the idea that we don't know a lot about them. As an example, Halo Reach, where they're, they're kind of scary a lot more. And in like Halo 1, when you kind of just you get glimpses of them, you barely see them. No, I wouldn't want to play that. I kind of want to just stay as the humans. I actually want to see almost, I know this sounds terrible. I want to see less Spartans. I would like to see, I like the ODST stuff. I like maybe play as a Grunt Marine. I want to see like bigger battles That's all I really want from Halo. I want that large scale. It's just overbearing. You can't deal with yourself. Like a good example is one of the levels towards the end of Zone of the Enders 2. There's just a gigantic battle going on, and you're just running around doing what you can to survive, and it's really cool, and you just kind of feel like another person in the middle of this war. That's what I've always wanted. Even running with a squad, yeah, that's cool, but it always just feels like these little battles. Never actually felt like a war. Andu. So, why does Kinect suck so much? That's a great question. I don't think it's really meant for gaming. I like the voice-activated stuff. It's kind of cool how like it could be loud and you can say Xbox pause and it works. And the hand stuff's okay, but not really for gaming. I mean, motion control. It's just use a controller. I think if you're a real gamer, you're not really a fan of motion control because it just requires too much work, and you really need to just be focused on what you're playing and not jumping around. When you jump around and move, your coordination's all thrown off. But if you sit in one place and you use your hands to control what you're doing, a lot easier. Elliot Warner. Should I buy Battlefield Bad Company 2 before Battlefield 3 so it won't be terrible when it gets released? It will also be my first Battlefield game. Well, since it's your first Battlefield game, probably not. You could actually probably play Battlefield free-to-play, which is online right now, which is a lot like Battlefield 2, I believe. If you can get a good deal on it, yeah, definitely check it out. Just so you can learn the mechanics before Battlefield 3 comes out, because it's a very different game from Call of Duty or other shooters. So very vehicle-based, very squad-focused. Highly recommend checking it out, but it's in no way necessary before you play Battlefield 3. Galt Alexander. Whenever the new consoles show up, what would you like to experience from them that's new? I was thinking about that. There's like almost nothing really wrong with the current generation of consoles except that they're just getting older. As long as, they can keep playing games and make them look pretty and have them load at a decent amount of time, they're still good. I just recall around this time, in the console cycle, like the PS2 and the Xbox, I remember games were really showing their age. They were not looking so good. I remember like San Andreas, like, cool game, really good on the PS2, but man, that thing was lagging. It was like almost impossible to play sometimes because it was just like, it felt like it was pushing it to its breaking point. Even like Shadow of the Colossus, it just looks so janky when you play it, just because it's like, developers were a lot more ambitious than what the consoles could do at the time, and I want them to update the hardware and just make games fun to play and make them affordable. That's all I really need. I don't need motion control. Oddballer TWM wants to know, cats or dogs? Both are fine. AK Amor, if you could have one question answered, and I mean any question, what would your question be? What happens to you when you die? Big Alaskan SOD, what do you think would be good additions to both MW3 and BF3? I don't know, let those franchises keep doing what they're doing, and I think people need to get working on something else. M-Shames, is Machinima run by one or a group of higher-ups, or is it like Valve, where everybody does their own thing? Machinima is run by higher-ups, definitely, people who own the company, but it's broken up into individual groups where those groups run themselves. So like production is run by my boss, and then programming is run by another boss, and then editorial is run by another boss. So it's broken up like that. Ryan Renun, please do more Inside Gaming Daily with Kutra. Yeah, for as long as he's in town. I'd like to get him on again when it's not under the circumstances we had today. We actually had planned on him being on the Thursday show, and the power just happened to go out, and he was on his way to the new office because he's working at the old one, working on a project. And it worked out, at least it kind of did, but I'd like to have him back on before he leaves. Astro Jesus 011, why are COD commentaries getting much more popular compared to actual machinimas like Freeman's Mine? Q&A number 7. And they're just probably easier to watch for people, or maybe that's just the way things are going, sadly. But maybe just the actual machinima stuff comes out so infrequently, people aren't used to seeing it. Skylar Wittes, I'm glad to see more Turtle. I really liked him in the Black Ops livestream, and I haven't seen him since then. Very cool guy. Turtle is a very cool guy. You saw him today on IG Daily for the Thursday episode because we went to the old office. He's there. He works on projects like the the Red Faction Machinima series and other stuff like that. That's kind of where he's moved on to, and he's working on another couple series that I can't talk about, but that's kind of been his thing. I think they're moving over to the new office eventually, though. Does a man excited for Breaking Bad Season 4 on July 17th? Hell yes. I love it. AstroJesus011 again. What's your stance on games such as Pokemon or COD just re-releasing the same game but with different skins? Yeah, that's, you know what? I mean, look, they make money and people buy it. That's fine. As long as other stuff is being made. So like Nintendo's putting out Pokemon. As long as they're doing other cool stuff, I'm fine with it. If Activision's putting out, you know, Call of Duty every year, okay, good. Give me some new franchises while you're at it. The Mayan Rebel saw the Inside Gaming episode of Kutra. If invited to Creature Talk, would you go? By the way, thanks for making time for us fans with these Q&As. Yeah, no problem. Kutra being on his Creature Talk. Yeah, I'd love to be a guest and just talk to him about whatever they talk about on there. I'll be honest, I actually haven't ever listened to Creature Talk. I haven't listened to a podcast in a very long time. Just to give you a heads up on my day, I ride my bike to work, and I don't like to listen to music or do anything while I do that because I feel like that's unsafe. And after I got hit by a car on my bike, I'm kind of afraid to be distracted in any way. So I used to listen to podcasts a lot when I drove my car to work, but ever since I've been riding my bike since I moved, I haven't really listened to any. So I do have to kind of actually listen to his stuff and see what they do on there so I know what the hell to talk about. The Noble Bean wants to know, hi, what makes a game fun for you? Personally, for me, it's about the control. The game controls well, it's good, and then after that, it's progression. The game has to have a sense of progression. If I just keep running through and I'm just doing the same things, and what I'm doing doesn't feel different, then it's not really a game for me. Middle Dark, have you ever played Final Fantasy Tactics War of the Lions? It is the best game ever. No, I never played it. H2OX Rev, will you be at the Call of Duty XP event? If you are, can I give you a big bear hug? Yeah, of course. We're going to be there. We'll be covering it. I think it's in August. Play some paintball. Yep. And give me a hug. Sure. Yes. Sean the Koean, what kind of music do you listen to? Any favorite bands in particular? I'm not really a music kind of guy. Like, I listen to whatever, you know, accumulated through the years. My tastes have changed differently. On Pandora, I typically keep it on the Deadmau5 station. I like that kind of stuff. I always like electronic music. That's always been really cool stuff. But I like folk music. I like a couple, you know, rap songs. I like hip-hop. I like everything. I really don't have a specific taste. But typically, if there is music that's in a video game trailer or something like that, I tend to enjoy that a lot more for some reason. Like the Skrillex song in that Uncharted trailer. Because I have something to kind of like, it has a sense of memory for me. I tend to listen to that music a lot more as well. I3 Bar, what did you think of Brink? Describe all rants and details. Smiley face. Brink is a good game. It did not live up to what we thought it was going to be. I think the problem with it was it was a multiplayer focus. That was its issue. They worked so hard on it being a multiplayer only game, and trying to charge a full price for that, not so smart. If the game had a single player campaign with those mechanics, I think it would have been great. But playing with bots, it was impossible. The game was just a mess, and it needed a lot to be fixed. It was just it was too much at one time, and they needed to kind of ease you in a bit more. I hope they do a Brink 2, because I think there's a lot of potential with that series. Liquid Squid, sorry to bother you, good sir, but do you think you could tell me where I can get GameCube ROMs for the Dolphin emulator? Thanks. Technically, you're not allowed to play ROMs unless you actually own the game, so I cannot tell you that, dude. Go Minujim, what's the game you have played the most, time-wise? Probably one of the Halo games. Probably Halo 2, Halo 3 online multiplayer. I played that for way too long. DWT Herman, you mentioned a girl in your life a few times. Any chance she'll join a future Q&A to answer questions about you? No, not at all. I like to keep my personal and work life, anything related to work, separate from what I do. And I try to keep her as not involved in anything I'm doing, just because she's already a stellar gal for putting up with me playing video games. So you will never hear from her. Ginger491, can you make a Puppet Day a regular thing every week? Because it's absolutely hilarious. Yeah, I'm sure so many people agree with that. The Troy T, Adam, do you think that we will see a Halo 4 gameplay at Halo Fest? I'm almost positive you will. If not that, I will be very upset. RW9311, do you think we will see more console games and Steam integration like Portal 2? You would think so, right? But that kind of just came and went, which is unfortunate. I was kind of hoping that with this whole Steam integration and Team Fortress 2 going free to play, it would have been on the PS3 by now. Not the case, sadly. Malicious Hero, why do you like puppets so much? I think they're funny. Ochit Man, what is happening with an expo in Australia? I don't think Machinima is going to reply. Yeah, I don't think we're going. I've asked about it. Maybe next year, hopefully. I know we're, traveling is expensive. We can't fly everywhere. I know we are going to Gamescom. We're going to New York again. We're going to San Diego next week. And I believe we're going to PAX in Seattle right after that. And then we're even sending Billy to QuakeCon. We have a lot of places to go, and we can't go everywhere around the world. And Australia is very expensive to go to. But I would still love to one day. And our final question comes from One Worldwide Gamer. Do you think that Mass Effect 3 will have DLC on day of release like Dragon Age 2 did? No, I'm pretty sure it will have DLC like how Mass Effect 2 did, the whole Cerberus network. So you have to buy the game. Day one, you get a code, and then you can get all this extra stuff to play the game. I know it's controversial, but it's a good way to kind of curb used game sales, which I'm all for, because it supports the publisher, supports the developer, and that means they can keep making more, because used game sales don't exactly help the guys making the games. They help GameStop. So, yeah, we'll see something like Mass Effect 2. I'm almost positive. If not, then I was wrong, and I'm sorry. Anyway, that's Q&A for this week. Enjoy Harry Potter. If not, enjoy something else. I'll see you guys, not next week because of Comic-Con, but after that, we'll do this again. All right, bye.